The origin of Christmas, a journey through time. Christmas, a holiday celebrated by millions of people around the world, is deeply rooted in history and filled with traditions that have transformed over time. Where did these customs come from and how did they become what we know today? In this video, we'll take a fascinating tour of the origins of Christmas, exploring its roots in ancient festivals, its connection to Christianity, and its evolution into a global celebration. The story of Christmas has its earliest roots in the seasonal celebrations of ancient civilizations. Long before the existence of Christianity, communities marked the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, as a time of hope and renewal. It was a reminder that the dark days were coming to an end and the light would begin to return. These ceremonies were fundamental to agricultural societies, which depended on the cycles of nature. The solstice symbolized the promise of spring and future harvests. This is where one of the most important points of Christmas comes from, the feeling of hope in dark times. Winter festivities were common in many cultures. In Nordic traditions, Yule was celebrated, a festival in honor of the rebirth of the sun. During Yule, people would light large bonfires, decorate their homes with branches of evergreen trees, and celebrate with feasts. In East Asia, on the other hand, solstice festivals also honored the renewal of nature. Although these events have no direct relation to Christmas, they share the same themes of renewal, hope, and light. In ancient Rome, Saturnalia was one of the most popular holidays of the year. This festival, dedicated to Saturn, the god of agriculture, was celebrated in mid-December with great enthusiasm. During Saturnalia, Romans decorated their homes, exchanged gifts, held banquets, and celebrated as a community. What's interesting about Saturnalia is how some of its elements, such as gift-giving and decorations, influenced the Christmas traditions we know today. Although this relationship is not direct, a line can be drawn between the two holidays in their spirit of conviviality and joy. Many historians argue that Saturnalia practices provided a cultural template into which Christian traditions were later incorporated. As Christianity began to grow within the Roman Empire, certain Saturnalia practices were adopted to make the new religion more accessible to pagans. This process of cultural assimilation helped to lay the early foundations for the celebration of Christmas. As Christianity spread, church leaders sought ways to replace pagan practices with Christian celebrations. In this context, December 25th was chosen as the date to commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ. Although the biblical scriptures do not specify the date of his birth, December 25th coincided with pagan festivals, which made it easier for the new beliefs to be accepted. The decision to set December 25th as the official date of Christmas was not random. Some historians suggest that early Christians chose this date to align it with the Roman festival of the Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the day of the birth of the unconquered sun. Sharing a similar symbolic meaning, the birth of light in darkness, this choice made December 25th a harmonious date to integrate Christian traditions. In its earliest days, Christmas served primarily as a spiritual reminder of the significance of Jesus' birth. Through religious ceremonies and nativity scenes, early Christians emphasized the importance of humility and hope, central values in the story of Christ's birth. During the Middle Ages, the celebration of Christmas began to change. It went from being a strictly religious day to include more common and accessible festivities for the people. In many European villages, Christmas celebrations began to adopt elements of local celebrations, such as banquets, songs, and public games. During this time, the first forms of the Christmas carol began, which would later become a much-loved tradition associated with the Christmas spirit. Christmas customs began to diverge according to different regions. In Anglo-Saxon lands, for example, some local practices incorporated symbols of nature, such as wreaths of evergreen leaves. Meanwhile, in Eastern Europe, specific family rituals were incorporated, such as the exchange of small symbolic offerings. The diversity of regional interpretations helped enrich the festivities, adding meaning and cultural connection. One of the most iconic Christmas traditions, the Christmas tree, has its origins in Germany. In the 16th century, Christians began decorating trees inside their homes as a symbol of eternal life. Decorated trees also connected with pagan beliefs about the mystical properties of evergreen plants. Today, the Christmas tree has become a universal symbol. The Christmas Carol has a rich history dating back centuries. Originally, they were songs that highlighted religious events or important stories. Over time, they became exclusively Christmassy and took on a more festive character. Examples such as Silent Night and Adest Fideles are testament to how these songs brought people together across generations. The exchange of gifts, deeply associated with modern Christmas, has its roots in both Saturnalia and stories about Saint Nicholas. Beyond the act of gift-giving, this gesture symbolizes kindness, generosity, and the preservation of community spirit. Saint Nicholas, a 4th-century bishop known for his generosity, played a crucial role in the tradition of gift-giving. Known for helping those in need, his figure evolved over time into Santa Claus, one of the most recognizable figures of modern Christmas. Folklore also left its mark on Christmas. In some European traditions, characters such as Krampus accompanied Saint Nicholas, representing the duality between good and evil. These stories enriched the holiday, adding a unique cultural touch in different regions. In colonial times, Christmas arrived on the American continent, where European communities brought their customs. However, they had to adapt to new cultural and religious environments, which gave rise to unique ways of celebrating. Victorian Christmas is responsible for many of the modern traditions we consider essential today, such as the widespread use of Christmas cards and family celebrations. Writers such as Charles Dickens, with A Christmas Carol, popularized these ideas and strengthened the emotional connection to the holiday. Christmas has been enriched by the influence of various cultures. For example, celebrations in Mexico combined Christian elements and indigenous traditions, such as the posadas. This shows how the holiday has been adapted according to the cultural particularities of each place. With the advent of the 19th century, Christmas began to take on a commercial dimension. Shops began to see the holiday as an opportunity, and with the arrival of figures such as Santa Claus in advertisements, the emphasis was placed on gifts and consumption. Characters like Santa Claus and figures like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer are products of the 20th century that helped universalize the holiday. They represent how new traditions can shape old practices. While Christmas has strong religious roots, in the contemporary world it has taken on a broader meaning. For those who celebrate its Christian component, it remains a time to reflect on the birth of Christ and the universal values he represents. In a more secularized world, Christmas has also become a cultural holiday. Many people celebrate it as an opportunity to be with loved ones and practice values such as generosity and community. Each country gives Christmas its own cultural twist. In Japan, for example, it is popular to celebrate with a fried chicken dinner, while in Venezuela, the tradition includes skating to church for the Misa de Gallo. With the rise of consumerism, Christmas has faced criticism for losing its spiritual meaning in favor of gift-giving and marketing. However, recent initiatives seek to regain focus on more sustainable values, such as community support and eco-friendly practices. Through Christianity, ancient pagan festivals, and modern traditions, the central message of Christmas, hope, renewal, and community, remains relevant. This is one of the reasons why this holiday has stood the test of time. The story of Christmas is one of cultural evolution and adaptations that reflect the needs and values of societies over time. From its roots in the winter solstice to its current significance as a global holiday, Christmas is a reminder of the universal values we share: hope, light, and the importance of human connection.